JB is a 25-year-old Latino male who is a friend of my older sister's.
Okay, Abby, thank you for agreeing to talk with me today. So today we're going to be talking about some of your daily routines and then some of your activities and occupational choices.
All right.
So throughout our conversation, I'm just going to be taking some notes that I can use for my assignment, as well as just when I'm kind of reviewing and referencing things. So my first question for you today is, are you currently working?
Yes.
Okay. And are you currently in school as well?
No, just working.
Just working. And then are you responsible for any like children's, partners, animals?
No.
Okay. So then, how did you come to have your job?
I interned after I graduated college, and then it became a full-time position.
So what does your work all involve? What kind of responsibilities do you have?
I'm technically a team lead for my team at NASA. So I manage people, I attend meetings, I support night shifts, and some testing sometimes.
And how well would you say that you handle these responsibilities or tasks?
Out of 100, I give myself like a 95.
95?
Yeah.
From like 0 to 100%,
Yeah,
so like 95?
like 95, yeah, there's
Okay.
5%. Some days are not good.
Some days are a little bit less. Okay. And do you like these responsibilities?
Yes, I do enjoy the responsibilities I have.
And what would you say is the main thing that you get out of your work?
Like the part that I enjoy? Like,
Yeah.
Okay. Just helping, I guess, the mission that is space station and supporting the people that are up there.
And what's the main reason for you doing this, like having your job and wanting to do that?
What is the main reason I chose NASA was the sense of exploration and like just working on something interesting.
Okay. And what kind of worker would you say that you are? How would you describe yourself as a worker?
Like determined or like stuff like that, or
Yeah. Just
Okay,
kind of, like, you would describe yourself as a worker, like
pretty like I guess proactive and determined. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, not passive at all.
not,
Very.
you're confident about how you.
Yes.
Yeah. And can you give me an example of how you are either proactive in your work or determined in your work?
Let's see. For proactive, always trying to think a step ahead of what might go wrong, and be like, okay, if this goes wrong, then I need to do this, and if that doesn't go well, then trying to think ahead, and then trying to help people or the team whenever like something's coming down the line.
And do you have maybe an example of like at work when you've done this, like a specific work example?
We once had a piece of hardware fail, like at 2 a.m. as we were about to start our activities, and then I had to quickly give a solution and do it on the fly.
Yeah, that's a lot of intensity for 2 a.m. So can you tell me something that you did recently at your work that you're really proud of?
I have been helping with a procedure verification for something we'll do on orbit to fix some broken hardware. So that's been good. I got to actually look at the hardware and touch it and interact with it and then make sure it's good to go.
That's cool. So you actually got to like view with like the material that they're
Yeah.
going to be sending up?
And that it's already up there.
Oh, it's already
that
up
it's
there.
a copy basically, or like the same thing, but we just had to like do it on the ground. So we pulled stuff out, looked at it, fixed it, and yeah.
Okay, very cool. So then we're going to talk a little about like kind of like either kind of like your hobbies, volunteers, like things you do outside of work. So is there anything else that's like really important to you or takes up a lot of your time and energy that you do outside of work?
I just started kickboxing, so that's a new one.
Okay, nice.
Let's see. I used to go dancing before COVID. That was really fun. And then just spending time with friends, I guess. Really. Either going places or hanging out. I guess everything.
Where do you guys usually go?
We either hang out at one of our friends' apartments, or we go out for dinners or movies. Yeah.
Nice. And then what are kind of some special things that you do within like your week or your daily life?
In my week, let's see. I have like regularly scheduled dinners with a couple of friends.
Okay.
So I go out to dinner with them either every week or every other week. There's also a life group, so I go to that. Go to church on Sundays, and let's see. I think that's about like the more specific things. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to kind of move on and talk about your housing.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of home do you live in?
It is a house with 3 other roommates, so 4 of us total.
So three roommates, 4
And,
total?
yeah.
Okay. And what kind of responsibilities do you have to kind of keep up the house and, like, maintenance, that kind of stuff?
Mainly just, like, your room is, like, left to yourself, like, you handle it how you want it, but then, like, the common spaces is, like, you clean after yourself, and if someone hasn't cleaned, you either tell them or you do it yourself, and then you manage your own groceries, basically, but we can all share.
So even though everyone kind of pays, you also kind of share food?
Yeah, if you want to, yeah.
Okay. And then, so you've kind of explained a little bit how you kind of divide responsibilities up, so is it just mainly just the kind of keeping up the cleanliness?
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
main areas?
I mean, if something's, like, really dirty, we all talk about it, like, alright, who's in charge?
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, and if something needs fixing, we're all like, how are we going to fix this? Like a group discussion.
Okay, so kind of work together on the
Yeah.
different things. So you mentioned before that you attend church weekly.
Mm-hmm.
So, what church do you actively participate
Bay
in?
Area Church.
Okay. And then can you tell me a little about like what you do at church or kind of the things that you participate in at church?
Go to like the regular church service. Part of a life group, and I have been a volunteer after the big freeze for 1 weekend.
Okay.
I haven't gone back to do that. Yeah.
And then how did you kind of get started at this church and like doing those
Friends.
activities?
I asked friends like, because I was like new to the area after college, and I asked like, where do y'all go? And then I tried it out, liked it, and I stuck with it. Yeah.
And can you kind of explain to me what like a life group is like? Like what is it exactly?
Life group is just a bunch of similarly aged people or individuals, and we just go through different like sections of the Bible, discuss it, and like bring up any topics that are interesting or up for discussion.
Okay. And why do you do this? Is it kind of more fun or serious? Like what's your...
I guess it's both fun and serious. Like it's to learn, to grow, and then also to just make friends, I guess.
Okay, so our next section is just going to be about kind of like your daily routine / your weekly routine.
Okay.
So my first question for you is, can you tell me something that's happened recently that kind of typifies what your routine is like for you?
Typifies in the sense of like that marks it, or
Yeah, just kind of like if in Snapchat, like yes, this is kind of like what my routine is like.
wake up usually around 6 a.m.
Okay.
And then in the mornings, right now I've been reading in the mornings and just waking up slowly, just taking it slow. And I used to shower, have breakfast, shower, have breakfast, and then start my work day. And then in the afternoon, after work's done, I either go to kickboxing or just stay home or go to dinner. Yeah, whatever happens.
Okay. So kind of like the evening kind of varies depending
Yeah,
on
the
the
evening
activities.
varies more than the morning. The morning's pretty set.
Okay. And then is your weekend even any different, and if so, how?
It is sometimes different. Usually I don't have to wake up at 6, so sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's later, but probably no later than 9 a.m. And then the activities vary between what happens. There's not really a schedule.
No schedule. What kind of activities do you do on the weekends?
Hang out with friends, go and run errands. Let's see, go to church on Sundays. What else? Stay at home, like watching a show, watching movies. Depending on the weather, it really varies. Yeah.
So it's a lot more of like leisure activities,
Mhm,
kind of
mhm.
relaxing, that kind of
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you satisfied with this routine that you have set up for yourself?
Yes, I am.
And what do you like about it?
I like waking up early and getting my day started and just having time to process what I'm going to do, what I need to do, and all of that. And taking my time with breakfast and not feeling rushed in the mornings.
Okay. You just kind of like being able to like kind of get up and get a sense of your day, not kind
Yeah,
of just like
not completely just like get up and go.
yeah,
Then I get up and like process it and then go. Like,
yeah. You kind of prepare yourself mentally
Mhm.
for the day. Okay, and then if you were having a really good day, what would that day look like for you?
I wake up at my usual time. I shower before I start work. Like all the meals are scheduled like around the time I'm hungry, so that's how it goes well. And in the evening, I get to decide what activity I have without really too much conflict, and then I'm back in bed by like 10:30.
Nice.
Call it a day, yeah.
You're more of an early like sleeper, I guess. Early night sleeper, I guess.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess
Saturday,
like I guess fall asleep decently early, but not terribly.
Not a super night owl.
Not an hour. Well, depending on what I
Yeah.
do.
So what are the most important things in your routine?
I guess meals.
Yeah, like what are like kind of like the most important things about your routine? Like if you had to like maybe choose certain things to
Yeah.
keep about your routine.
So
what
I
would
would
you
keep like my meal times pretty close to where they are right now. I like to have that balanced. Waking up is not super important as long as I get up before I start work. And I miss that.
It's always important.
Yeah. And then the activities in the evening can change. I don't really have a preference for what I do in the evenings too much.
So really just kind of the meal times as
The
long as
meal
they're kind
times.
of
As long as they're
routine.
kind of like consistent and I have an opportunity to have a meal,
Yeah.
that'll be good.
So does your routine allow you to get the things done that are most important to you?
Yes, I get everything I want done, usually.
And then was your routine ever like different from what it is now?
I guess in college, yes, it was different. Since it was class, so like signal around class, and classes can go like 8 a.m.s or 10 a.m.s or whatever. So my wake up time was never super consistent along the week. It varied per day.
And so if you were to kind of have, would you compare these routines, like their differences? I guess you kind of already mentioned like your wake up time was different. Was there anything else that was kind of different about them?
Yeah, the meal times could vary a lot depending on if I have classes at certain times during the week, and then the amount of time I had to eat. Get like a meal down before going to class or going to the next thing you need to do. So I guess it's more stable now than it was before.
So your new routine is more stable with having kind of like the steady job
Yeah.
time, that kind of thing. And then, so would you say that one was better than the other for you, or which one would you say is better?
I think I prefer the job routine just because it's easier to maintain than having I guess overly flexible schedule. Too many things can change day to day, and that can throw you off.
Yeah. So you kind of like the consistency that the job gives you. That makes a lot of sense. So we kind of talked about it before with the meal. So like kind of when you keep kind of like choosing what stays the same within your routine, like is it really just like the mealtime is kind of like the thing that like you want to keep the same, or is there anything else you would like to keep the same?
I guess the work hours, not terribly the work hours. Sometimes the work hours are like the 8 to 5, yeah. But I know my job requires me to have night shifts, so those I'm used to now. So it's like if I have to be at work by 9 p.m., I have to be at work by 9 p.m.
So you're kind of used to those switching
Yeah.
up. So is there anything that you would like to change about your routine?
I don't think there's anything I'd like to change about it right now. Can't think of anything I want.
Pretty solid routine right
I'm
now.
pretty happy with it.
So do you have any hobbies that you do? You kind of talked about it before with like kind of like when we talked about
Yeah,
your
dancing.
activities.
I guess I do kind of rocketry on the side. It's just going slowly, but I do enjoy thinking about that and having projects. I enjoy 3D printing, and I occasionally fly my drone that I have, yeah.
So maybe if you wanted to like pick one of those, like how did you get started maybe on like the 3D printing?
College, I was part of a lab, and I was the guy for 3D printing, basically. After I started, I became the guy who knew the ins and out of it.
So you really enjoy doing that?
Yes.
And what do you like about it?
I like being able to see something digitally and then bring it to the real world.
You kind of like the creation aspect
Yeah,
of
the
it. You kind of get to
creation.
like pick what it looks like
Yeah.
in your mind and like design
Yeah, it's like
it.
it
and
should
then-
look like this, and it should come out like this, and then it does or it doesn't, and then if it doesn't, you're like, what went wrong?
So you get to kind of problem
Yeah.
solve it and figure out what went wrong. So I think you kind of already said this before, but you've basically been doing 3D printing since like college.
Yeah, so it's been 4 years maybe, 4, yeah.
And is it something you do pretty consistently, or is it kind of sort of projects come up?
Yeah, it kind of swings on depending on how project heavy I'm at the time. But at least, I guess, if I had to put a number every year, maybe 4 or 5 projects per year.
Pretty solid amount of projects for 3D printing. Are they kind of like big things, or does it vary in like which?
It varies. It can be, I guess, 1 year I had a pretty large amount, but it varies really on what the project is.
Okay. And then are there any hobbies or like things you used to do that were part of your old routine but aren't anymore?
Let's see. In high school I did archery, so that's no longer part of my routine. I used to be like however like a quiz team in high school as well. So like trivia.
So like a trivia team.
Yeah, trivia team. I did that for most of high school. And then I think those are the two things I kept most other things pretty.
So it's like college and job, kind of like transitioning from college.
Yeah, I guess it's similar things, just different people, I guess.
Different people.
Yeah.
So it's really the people, not the hobbies that have changed.
Yeah. I don't think I've added new hobbies. Too many, at least.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay. So that's going to kind of close up your daily routines. So now we're going to talk about kind of some occupations and activities you've kind of chosen to take up throughout your life and like kind of more focused on the now. Really.
Okay, yeah.
So the first question for that is, and you kind of already answered this, but how did you come to have your current job? You kind of said that was
intern after college, and then that became a full-time position.
How long did you intern for?
7 months.
That's solid. It was always kind of like you always kind of wanted to work at NASA, or was that something that happened?
I did, but I didn't expect it to be like my first job out of college kind of thing. I expected it to be later on.
And so we kind of maybe mentioned this a little bit before when we kind of talking about the things that you get to do that are important to you, but do you feel like you get to do the things that are really important to you?
Yes, I think that I do get to work on things that I consider important.
So what are some of those things that are like really important to you? Like maybe like top 5 on the list.
Top 5, let's see. So helping the people that are on our orbit, so that aspect of like exploration, having like a job that I enjoy the people that I'm working with, having flexibility with the job, with I guess the hours and what I work, having like I guess support and reliability in the team, like in case I'm being overworked or something, that we all spread the load. And then I guess the opportunity to, I guess eventually if I wanted to move, that use these skills that I learned in this job in another job.
So to kind of like rehash that, so it's kind of like being able to help the people on orbit, like the flexibility of the job, having you like your team that you work with, and then their support and reliability that you have within the team, and kind of all help each other out. No one's kind of slacking off, or like you guys have an even spread of responsibility. And the last one is that these are the skills you're learning are things you can use in a variety of jobs, like if you wanted to change.
Yep.
Awesome. And then, so let me see. Have you been able to choose things in your life that are important to you?
Yes, I have been able to choose like basically, I guess where I live, who I live with, what I'm doing, and yeah.
So is there anything that kind of routinely interferes with what you want to do?
COVID. I guess.
Yeah. That interfered with a lot of people's plans.
I guess that's the big one right now.
I guess, how did COVID kind of interfere with it?
I guess I was planning to travel more when it hit. I had a work trip planned for the month after everything closed down, so that work trip was canceled. Just looking forward to it. And then I had, I guess, some other summer trips planned that went by the wayside because of it. It was mostly travel to visit either friends or family.
So do you like to travel?
I do.
So do you say it's really important to you?
Yeah, I'd put it up there, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so my next question is, do you feel like you have free time kind of between like your daily routine, your occupation?
Yes, I do feel like I have, I guess, plenty of free time, or time that I get to decide what I want to do with it, yeah.
And what do you usually do with your free time?
Either watch shows or some videos, read, exercise, or keep up with friends, either chatting or messaging or talking.
So you're like staying like connected with
people. Yeah,
staying
connected with people.
And then what are some activities that you like to do for fun?
Dancing, going to the beach, traveling and looking at like new places, and then hanging out with friends in general. I guess it's the easy out.
So what do you mean by like looking at new places?
Like going somewhere that I haven't been before.
Okay.
Yeah, either like within the city or outside the city. Yeah.
So you kind of like to adventure out, try new things. So, what can you tell me about a recent thing that you did that you had a lot of fun with, or you really enjoyed?
Kickboxing is fairly recent, so really enjoyed that. I've never done like a martial art, I guess, so that's my first time trying it out, learning the technique.
And what got you into that?
Friends' recommendation, yeah.
So do you guys go together? Is it
Yes,
just
we do go together.
And how often do you do that?
Twice a week is kind of think what the schedule is like. It might be more, but usually the baseline is twice a week.
Twice a week. So then, do you ever set kind of goals for yourself or plan for the future?
Yes, but not super long term. They're usually, I guess, at most 2 years ahead, maybe.
So are you usually able to like kind of follow through with those goals, or do you find yourself?
Yeah, I
struggling
usually
to?
can, but I am not like fixated on them. Like I understand that things change and they can take different paths.
So can you give me an example of a time when you had a goal? Like you can tell me the goal and then how you kind of achieved that goal.
I guess landing at NASA, like I knew that I had to be an engineer or something. Well, I didn't have to be, but the path I wanted to take was being an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I studied aerospace in college, and then I applied to companies that I knew had some connection to NASA in some way, and then that's how I aimed for it.
So you kind of broke it up, I guess, like broke it down, like kind of long-term goal was
Yeah.
becoming an engineer at NASA, and then like...
The short term was like get my college degree and then apply to companies. Yeah.
Okay. Did it take you a while to get the internship that eventually got you your job, or was that kind of like your first
did.
one?
Yeah, that was my first internship. I did not have a single other one until my graduating year.
So you kind of just got that one and kind of all just...
And
worked
it's all
out?
just like, yep, went.
So, when you're trying to achieve these goals, when you run into obstacles or difficulties, how do you handle them?
I try to learn from what happened. I try to like see why things happened as they did. I try not to like question why they happened, but like how, like what was the series of events, and then to understand like what I can do better next time.
So can you maybe give me like a life example of like
Yeah.
something that happened in your life, and then kind of like what happened, and then how you moved
Let's
from
see.
it?
I got an F in one of my classes in aerospace, and it was a prerequisite for some other classes. So I knew that my next steps would be like take the class again and do as good as I could. And so I studied a lot harder. I reviewed the material with a lot more time, and I was like more intentional about going to the professor if I had questions or if I didn't understand something, like just to make it click. And yeah, it did. It worked, and I got a pretty good grade, and I was happy.
Nice. So you really just kind of like focus on kind of picked out the things that maybe
I didn't do as
Policy,
much the
yeah.
first time, yeah.
and then you were able to do them that time. So then the last question for this section is, how do you think you kind of adjust and handle these situations? Maybe can you give me an example of some decisions you've made, and then how they kind of illustrate ways in which you can kind of handle difficulties that kind of arise as you're trying
I
to achieve them?
guess when it comes to difficulties, I guess what I do is usually be flexible with what I can do. Like, be flexible with either time or I guess resources, and then to try things out. Like, not just stick to like I'm gonna do this, and if that doesn't work, it's over. No, I'd be like try this. Like, okay, that worked, good. If it doesn't, what else can I do? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So just all that problem solving and figuring out what the issue was, and then rather than just like trying to stick to one type of way of
Be
getting
open
it
to
done.
different methods or paths. Yeah.
Do you ever like seek out advice from other
Yes,
people?
I do. Yeah, if I know someone that's been in a similar shoes, I try to get their perspective. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so the final section we're going to go over, it's going to be just kind of talking through, we've already talked about it a little bit, but kind of just going through your occupations and kind of just like behaviors within your occupation.
Okay.
So you've mentioned this before, you live in a house, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let me make sure, yeah. And you live with 4 roommates.
Three.
Three. You were one of the 4.
3. I'm one of
yes.
the 4.
3 and then one of the 4. So can you kind of give me maybe like a little tour of your house, kind of like what it's like there for you?
So 2 bathrooms, so 3 of us share a bathroom, and then one has his own bathroom. Common kitchen, common like living areas, and then just our bedrooms are like our personal space.
And have you guys kind of set up like, sorry, I lost my question. We'll come back to that one once I find it. Do you feel like you have enough privacy, kind of like
yeah,
the setup?
I think there's enough privacy in our rooms. Each has their own room. That's enough privacy, I guess.
So you guys kind of respect each other's boundaries. And
Yeah,
like,
like
this
if
is my room,
we don't like sneak into each other's rooms and
Yeah.
not try to like claim
There's
us
no
around
pranking that
or
goes
pranking. There might be some light pranking, but usually it's in the common areas.
And would you say that you're kind of able to get around your home in
Yeah,
an adequate way?
no issues.
So do you ever feel like you're bored at home?
Yes, I feel like if I've been at home for too long, I need to go out and do something. I can't stay at home for longer periods of time. Yeah.
So you like the ability to kind of just like leave, go out and do your own thing?
Yeah,
like,
go do
stuck
something else
inside?
instead of being stuck inside. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And do you like your surroundings? I guess, are they kind of like stimulating for you? Do you
Yeah,
enjoy them?
I think they're stimulating.
So what kind of make them enjoyable for you?
I guess having the other roommates around makes it interesting. Having different conversations. The area that we live in is nice. Like you can go out for walks and it's quiet, or there's not too much noise from traffic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of, do you like prefer having roommates, or
I do, yes.
yeah, it's like kind of people to kind of connect with
Mhm.
being on your own?
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of already talked about this before, but what do you have to do to keep your home or apartment kind of like to like kind of keep it up, keep it clean, that kind of stuff?
Cleaning up after yourself when you cook, like all the dishes. I guess not so much doing the laundry, but I guess that's sort of for everyone's own responsibility. And then like if you make a mess, to clean up after yourself. If you have friends over, to make sure that you've cleaned everything that was used or whatnot. And then if you notice something wrong, you talk about it or you fix it on your own.
And do you feel like you can manage these, that you're able to do these activities okay to kind of keep up the house?
Yes.
Okay. So who are the most important people in your life?
My family and my closest friends, I guess. Go with that.
And does your family live nearby, or how does that work for
Most
you?
of my family lives within an hour of me.
And do you guys get together often?
Yeah, I guess at least once a month, a little bit, yeah.
So you said that you currently live with 3 roommates, and how would you say you guys get along?
We get on really well. It's always friendly. There's no real conflict. It's very fun.
What kind of things do you guys do together?
Watch shows together. We go out to eat together. We joke around, talk about life and work, and hang out outside the home together as well.
And do you guys have similar jobs, or do you guys have various jobs?
3 of us have similar, like same workplace, I guess, basically. And another one has a different workplace, but we're all engineers, yeah.
So all of you guys are engineers, so you kind of have a common ground?
Yeah, we have common ground.
So how would you describe kind of your living space? Like, if you were, like, is it chaotic? Is it comfortable? Is it boring? Like, how would you kind of describe it?
It's comfortable. I guess if it's too long, it's boring. It can be boring, and then I guess when we're all working, it can be quiet. So we're all focused on what we're doing. But it's also like get open to like different events or ideas or things we want to do. Yeah.
So you feel like your living environment, because I guess with COVID, are you still working at home, or are you in the office?
Still working at home, but I can go into the office if there's something I need to do there.
So with having to work from home, do you feel like it's kind of conducive to like your working needs, or do you feel like there's some things missing?
Yeah, there's definitely some things missing. Mostly like if we've hired new people, so that new person, like welcoming and showing them the ropes is a lot more difficult if you're remote and virtual,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're right there to tell them, hey, go look at this thing, and you point them pretty quickly instead of like trying to make that clear through messages.
Yeah, it's kind of harder to do it
Yeah.
over either like Zoom. I don't know if you guys use Zoom.
Yeah, we use Teams.
Teams, okay.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to be like, follow this link, and then it's like, oh, but where do I click? Let me see. And I don't remember.
Lots of screen sharing.
Yeah,
and
lots of
figuring it
screen
out.
sharing and being like, this menu, that menu, and then it's like, I don't remember, let me see. I'll get back to you.
Yeah. So then my last question for you is that can you kind of tell me something that's happened within your home recently that kind of typifies what it is where you live, like what it's like to live where you are at?
What's happened recently? I guess whenever series or shows come out, we all like are like, all right, it's coming out this day, so when are we free to watch it? And we schedule like one night to be like, we're all gonna be there and we're all gonna sit down and watch it. So that's just a pretty typical thing.
So you guys kind of share TV shows and watch them?
Share TV, yeah.
What's some of the TV shows that you guys like
We
to
watched
watch?
The Mandalorian, we watched WandaVision, we watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and now we're starting Loki. What's
So a lot of like
Disney Plus
Disney
shows.
Plus
Yeah.
shows. Yeah, a lot of those.
Yeah, most of the ones we commonly share, yeah.
Yeah. So then I'm just going to kind of do a little review to make sure I have everything down, and we kind of went through everything.
Okie dokie.
So just to kind of make sure I have it. So for your job, you work at NASA, you're an engineer, and you have usually an 8 to 5 job, but it can vary with night shifts.
Yes.
How often do you do night shifts?
It should be every other week, but it depends on how much work there is to do.
Okay.
And there's a few days every other week for a few days.
And then, let's see. Make sure. Just to kind of go back over your daily routines. So usually you kind of get up in the morning, you have basically kind of like a quiet time to yourself.
Yeah.
And then you get kind of started with the work day, and then once work is done, you kind of take a time to step back out of work and kind of take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, do whatever it is to kind of relax,
Or whatever,
de-stress.
yeah, whatever I
if
want
work
to
is
do, whatever.
stressful.
Yeah.
And then, let's see. And then your routine stays pretty consistent even with night shifts. You kind of know when there's a meeting, so you adjust it.
Yeah, I adjust my routine depending on what's coming in.
So how is your routine different if you have a night shift? Like, do you have to work still that day?
Depending on what time the night shift is, I sometimes work the full day or I sometimes work a half day. And I guess my meals stay pretty consistent. Like, even if I'm going to bed at, like, if my night shift is at 9, I still try to have dinner by, like, 6 or 7. And then I just have a snack while I'm working if I'm hungry at night.
Yeah. So when you have a night shift, kind of like the next day, do you still wake up early, or do you kind of, I guess, depending on...
It depends on how tired I am and what I need to do the next day, yeah.
Yeah, and then even if you get up a little bit later, does that still morning routines pretty much stay the same? Kind of get
It's pretty
up?
close, yeah. Get up, eat, shower, whatever, yeah. Pretty consistent.
So if you don't have to, so if you have a night shift and you don't work the next day, what do you usually do?
I just sleep and then, however much I need without an alarm, yeah. And then I wake up and just go back.
So what do you, like, fill your day with when you don't have to...
When I don't have to work the next day?
Or do you usually have to do work the next day?
Depends on the day. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So if I don't, I just decide what I'm going to do, either stay home. Usually I don't go out the day after a shift, but if there's something already planned, I'll go out. There's no problem.
So you usually just kind of take that time to yourself,
Yeah.
and kind of do whatever you need to check off things on your checklist, that kind of thing. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And then, let's just go back over this one real quick. I think we covered everything. You kind of like your leisure activities. You kind of like more active leisure activities, I would say.
Yes.
Like dancing, going and doing more active kind of
doing
things.
things, instead of... I guess reading I enjoy it, but I guess I'm more of an active person.
Like you got to kind of choose between them and do more of the active thing. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, yeah. And then it seems like when it comes to like kind of handling difficulties, you kind of have a pretty good setup for yourself of how to like figure it out, work through it. You kind of have a process that you set up. And when you kind of... Have you always kind of had that process, or was it something you kind of learned?
I've learned, I guess. I've improved it over time. Like, I've learned how to deal with them.
So when would you say did you kind of start, like, learning that, or teaching?
The very end of high school and then throughout college.
Okay.
Yeah. Just learning. Once I was on my own in college, I was like, no one's gonna, like... There's no mom to, like, tell you, like, go here, go there. It's like, figure it out and survive.
So it's going to be, like, it was the point of kind of which you had to kind of direct your own life.
Yeah,
about teachers telling you what to do, or
or
parents
someone else
telling
telling you what you do. It's like, something's wrong, no one's gonna fix it for you unless you do it yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, so just kind of be back and forth to figure out what worked and what didn't. Okay. So I think that is all of my questions for you. Do you have anything else that maybe work related or activities related that maybe we didn't go over that you feel like we needed to like would be something important to share?
I think there's nothing that mentioned the commute to and from work, but I guess
That's true. So, because I know working from COVID, like with
Yeah.
COVID, you're mostly at home, but I guess you
Mostly
say
at
you
home.
go in.
I do go in for like night shifts, but my commute used to be 45 minutes, which made it a lot more difficult because I had to schedule my night shifts. Like I'd have to think about all the time that I'm gonna need to drive there, besides just sleeping and resting.
So it's kind of a part of your daily routine that's changed.
Yeah, I used to be a lot longer.
So what made it longer?
Just my distance from my workplace.
So you used to live somewhere else?
Yeah, I used to live further away, and now I live much closer. So I can take a nap and quickly get ready, and then still leave with a really nice margin of time.
So that's a change that you really like about
Yeah, I enjoy
closer.
being closer. It makes a difference. Yeah.
You have a lot more time on your hands.
Yes, I have a lot more time.
No rushing through the getting ready.
No rushing through traffic either,
Yeah.
or fighting traffic. Whenever I go back home, it's like I want to go to bed, but I still have like 45 minutes of traffic to push through.
Yeah. Especially, were you still doing night shifts when you were having that 45-minute drives? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got up at night shift.
So I
and you drive 45 minutes?
drive down at 2 a.m., 45 minutes, no traffic, and then get out at 8 a.m. and be like all the traffic on the way back.
Okay, so that's definitely something about your routine that's changed.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing that. That was also important. I didn't think about asking you about that. And then, do you think there's anything else, maybe about like a routine that's something that we didn't go over?
I guess my routine can change depending on the seasons. I've noticed that during like the spring and summer, I wake up more easily in the mornings, and if it's fall and winter, I slow down a lot more. Like I'm not as willing to get up early as I am during the spring and summer seasons.
Yeah, so you feel a lot more kind of like
Energized
during the spring and summer months.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think that's just because?
I think it's because of the whole daylight savings or the sun rising earlier, and there's more daytime.
More daylight, you kind of just feel more like there's more time in the day.
Yeah.
Because I feel like once it goes night, you kind of just your body just.
Well, yeah, your body is like slow it down. There's not too much left in the day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's safe to say you wouldn't want to live in somewhere with Alaska.
They have 24-hour daytime though.
That's true. Yeah,
So,
I kind of get both halves. Yeah, that's very true. Okay, so that's kind of with the routine. Is there anything about your job that we didn't go over besides the commute? Any aspects of your jobs that are maybe something that's important to you that we didn't talk about?
I guess communication is really important in my job. Like being clear, clear, concise, and to the point. Yeah.
Making sure you have really good communication
Yeah,
skills.
making sure your communication skills is very important.
Would you say you kind of always kind of had a knack for really like good communication?
I think
or
I
something?
was, yeah, I had a reasonable skill, but I think it's improved. Like, it's improved with my work. Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of something you kind of naturally came, but also you kind of refined.
Yeah, I
your work.
refined it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I don't have any more questions. Do you have anything else that you would like to share?
I don't think I have anything else right now.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for sitting down with me and kind of going over these questions and talking through them with me. I really appreciate that. And I just really appreciate you coming to talk to me. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.